Hello, friends, and welcome to another episode of All New Snap Judgments, the 35th since we started using that particular branding. Almost as always, I'm Roy Rogers. I'm happy to be back on the show. I apologize for being gone for a little bit, but life is hard and difficult. And so it sometimes gets in the way. But I am glad, as always, which is 100% true, to be joined by my friend and yours, Aaron Glazer. Glazer, my friend, it is so wonderful to be doing this once again with you.
Missed you, my friend.
I missed you too. I did not miss you editing you while you insult me in the first 2 minutes of the episode, but you can now insult me to my virtual face. So really, it's just a strict upgrade. So, Glazer, though, we are joined by two absolutely amazing special guests. So who of them do you wish to introduce first?
We're going to build hype for our first-time guest, so we're going to instead talk about the tall, beautiful Pirate King, of whom we are all so fond. How you doing, Tuck?
Doing absolutely fantastic. Thank you so much for having me. This has always been a pleasure. Love the show. You guys do freaking fantastic stuff all the time.
Thanks for joining us. And how could our loyal listeners/viewers find you?
You can find me on all socials, whether that is YouTube, Twitch, X, Twitter, TikTok, under Tuccrr, Tuccrr.
Awesome. And not that we don't love Tuccrr, because you know we love us on Tuccrr. I literally stop by and say goodnight to Tuccrr almost every night before I go to sleep. But I am beyond excited for our next guest. I've wanted this guest on the show for literally like 6 straight months. We finally got Felicity on the show. How you doing, Fel?
I am good, and I am super excited to be here, and I'm excited for the rest of the show. Thanks for having me.
Awesome. And how could our friends find you?
Mostly on Twitch under Felicity.
Nice.
So you have the Felicity account on Twitch?
Yeah, I've been on Twitch for I think since 2012 or 2011.
Wow. Damn. So has anyone ever offered to buy that from you? That feels like just the name Felicity on Twitch.
WB.
Seems like a valuable commodity. So that's really interesting.
Yeah, no one's ever offered that before.
Interesting.
But I mean, it's not like I would give that up anyway.
That's completely fair. All right, before we jump into a jam-packed episode of the show, we just need to remind you how you can engage with us on social media. We are on Elon Musk's hell site, XYZ, formerly known as Twitter, at SnapJudgeCast. We are, of course, extremely proud to be the official podcasting partner of Marvel Snap Zone. You should definitely go and join their Discord, which is going to be undergoing some pretty cool changes in the foreseeable future, all in a positive way. I join the Discord and find out what's going to be happening with that. The link to the Marvel Snap Zone Discord is in the description of this episode on YouTube or on your friendly neighborhood podcatcher. Somewhere in between the kick spam that Glazer subjects us to, you can reach us via email at snapjudgmentspodcast@gmail.com. And then we are at the two most important pieces of social media we have. First and foremost, our YouTube, which is at Snap Judgments Pod, where 6 out of the 7 days a week, sometimes multiple times today, you can find daily snap takes from Aaron Glazer. Glazer, if our loyal listeners were to become our loyal viewers, what would they find on the YouTube right now?
OTA video. Yesterday we had a new Lambie deck, a new safety deck, and we covered the Royce Townsend Galactus. So we have, as always, 3 decks every single day. Hopefully you check it out. I'm pretty proud of the work we do there.
All right. The last bit is a few weeks ago, I think a month ago, as of the recording of this episode, we launched a Patreon. Glazer, you don't have the Patreon in the show notes of the episode, so I cannot read off what it is. What is our Patreon on Patreon?
Just patreon.com/snapjudgments, and we're going to talk about it on the next slide. So let's get there.
Let's jump right there. All right, Aaron, I'm going to let you lay this out for our loyal listeners. What is a huge, huge deal?
Oh, I guess we're spoiling the Felicity announcement here. We're announcing a few people a day. We are doing a Snap Judgments League tournament. This is going to be either every month or every other month, depending on like how long it takes. We've got, as of right now, 52 creators signed up to be a part of it. You, dear listener, can be a part of it. All you have to do is be part of the Patreon on the $1 tier, and I promise you we're operating at a loss at this point. We are literally doing the $1 tier just so we're not taking a bath in terms of the loss. But basically what's going to happen is you're going to be put into a pod based on your time availability with about 32 other players. You'll play one game a week, scheduled at your own leisure. If you'd like that to be streamed with a stream, maybe you'll get lucky, play Tuccrr Felicity, and they'll stream against you. Or you can record your video and send it to us, and we're going to be sending it around to a bunch of Marvel Snap Zone creators, and we'll try and get some videos up of these league games so that we can promote this for everybody, so that everybody gets their chance in the sun. Winner of each pod gets a prize, and then the top two in the league, because once you finish first in your pod, you're put into a single elimination group, gets a bigger prize. Cool. So far announced, we have Tuccrr, Robitussin for some reason, Prashant. We've also got the wonderful Felicity, who I wasn't going to announce yet, but now we have no choice. We have Lambie. We have Safety Blade. We have just like pick a Marvel Snap creator that's not the like 4 that have 100,000 followers, and they're probably in. So we're really, really excited for it. You can play some of your favorite creators. Don't worry about if you think you're good enough. It's a single game of Conquest. And look, even I could beat Tuccrr in a single game of Conquest, right? So like, there's a lot to like here. Our dear guests, anything you'd like to say about the tournament? No, there is not.
Well, I will say something. And since someone in the comments of the last few episodes said that I'm just a special guest now, I will put this in
King
here.
Cowcat.
All right. I will say that loyal listeners and loyal viewers, of all the ridiculous things that Glazer has done in the year and 3 months that we've been making Marvel Snap content, this is easily the most. It is a huge time sink. And you should definitely sign up for it, because a huge amount of effort is going behind the scenes, not only to provide you with like the awesome opportunity to play against badass, awesome players like Tuccrr and Felicity and Lambie and all these other awesome friends of the show that are going to be on it, but also play against fellow members of the community, right? It's the right mix of that kind of stuff. And there's not a lot of other games that give you the opportunity to play with both content creators and your fellow everyday community members. So it's really, really cool opportunity. Glazer's putting a lot of money into this. He is definitely correct that literally everything we do on this show is operating at a loss. Let me tell you, as someone who many of the things get charged to my debit card, definitely can tell you that we operate at a loss. So this is definitely something that Glazer is doing for the love of the community, despite the best efforts of myself to talk him out of it. All right, by telling him how much work it was going to be if he decided to do this. So really, really sign up, appreciate it. It's going to be really awesome. It's really exciting. Make sure you're patient as the sort of kinks are worked out of this. But this is like a really awesome thing that you don't see in a lot of other communities. And if you do choose to support us on Patreon, you don't just get that. You also get videos if you're on the $10 a month tier, if I remember correctly, Glazer?
Yeah, $10 a month is the exclusive podcast.
Awesome. And Glazer and I just recorded the January one. It is a absolutely strange video of it's like 1 part drama video, 1 part content guide, 1 part behind the scenes. It's amazingly weird. So you should definitely check it out. It's definitely unusual. And don't spoil Patreons for anyone who isn't, because they should definitely subscribe and check it out. So that's our Patreon. Sign up, play in the tournament. It's going to be awesome. But let's get into what you are not paying us for, which is, of course, our normal Snap Judgments content. We have a brand new card like we do every week, except for the weeks we have 2 cards now. So we have Beta Ray Bill, who is a 4-cost, 6-strength, Series 5, 6K tokens. What do you get for those 6K tokens? You get an on-reveal shuffle Stormbreaker into your deck. Stormbreaker, On reveal, double Beta Ray Bill's power. So without anything else, when it's played, he becomes a 12. Stormbreaker self costs 0 and has 1 strength, which makes it slightly better-ish, question mark, than Thor's Mjolnir. Unless Mjolnir somehow got buffed and I did not notice it, which I would not put it past me. All right, I'm going to toss this to Felicity. What do you think of everybody's favorite Walt Simonson Thor supporting character?
I think Beta Ray Bill's not bad. I haven't gotten to personally I did get him in the spotlight, and I haven't actually had a chance to get him to work properly, maybe. But I like the idea of him, and I want to find a deck where I'm like super happy with him. But at the moment, he's not bad. I mean, he's pretty similar to Thor, and I like Thor in general. So I think I probably need a bit more time with him, but I think he's okay.
I think this card's very, very fun. I've been doing a lot of testing. I did a lot of testing, honestly, with Thor before Beta Ray came out, and I had Thor in a Hitmonkey deck, and adding Beta Ray Bill to the mix allows you to actually go vertical opposed to just horizontal in a Hitmonkey deck, so I think it adds a different layer of versatility. And honestly, we didn't really play a lot of Jane with Thor itself, but now having 2 Thors, I mean, you have a 5 energy, 8 powered card that you can throw into your deck now, which is, I mean, fantastic for just the synergy there. I think it makes the Asgard package more interesting and something you always have to account for, because you don't necessarily know if they get Stormbreaker on curve, if they're actually going to be able to double their Beta Ray's power. And the interaction, honestly, with Miss Marvel can be fun too, especially if you don't have all the cards to be able to play 2 in 1 lane. It allows you to get that buff with Miss Marvel. I think it just, you play the game a little bit differently. That's like with a lot of the cards, I feel like this season that came out, it just adds another like leveling to it. And I think it came out at the right time with the meta being as kind of normalized and not one deck being super overpowered right now. It allows you to do more testing without just getting bodied by a blob that drops 50 power. So I think he came out at the right time, and he's very fun. I don't know if he's worth 6K, but he's a very fun card to play.
So I was expecting to not like Beta Ray at all. He's totally not my type of card. But in Marvel Snap, cards that create packages end up really strong, right? And now there's just, you can throw Beta Ray, Thor, and Jane into a deck. Sometimes with Sabu, sometimes with Lockjaw, sometimes with an Odin, whatever the extra card is. But those 3 cards just go into a lot of different shells, and that's a powerful thing to do in Snap. Because, like, it's a Nihilus Hood Sentry, it's Darkhawk, Korg, and Rockslide, right? Those little 3-card packages are what make decks go, especially when Marvel Snap is in a good place. I feel like when Marvel Snap is in a good place, these small, like, mid-rangey packages are really powerful, and Beta Ray Bill offers that in decks. So he's better than I expected. Is he 6,000 tokens when I think a lot of the Black Order stuff is going to be insane? Probably not. But if you were looking to build competitive decks, like let's say you're early Series 3, and you happen to have gotten cards like Thor and Jane, right? Then all of a sudden, and you could have Thor because last month's Conquest was just free Thor. So if you just happen to open Jane, this is a card that I would target. I would suddenly open for it because you're pretty close to a viable deck just by having those 3 cards.
I definitely agree with folks. I think this card is like whelming, I guess is what you would say. It is neither under nor over. I think it's super interesting design to put it at 4, which kind of pushes it in like a mid-range Zabu-y way. And that's what I think is kind of like the most interesting thing about the card, is that it is like a pretty solid, like 12 is a good mid-range number, particularly now that Blob is much less consistently like 5 million power or effectively infinite power. So I think, as Glazer said, the creation of this sort of Thor package or Walt Simonson package or whatever you want to call it, like, is definitely like really interesting. But I think more is like this all 4 Zabu deck that, like, I think that is kind of what I'm interested in seeing, whether that becomes a thing again. because there's just like a lot of, I think, flexibility and interesting stuff in these mid-range 4 cards that are kind of hard for a deck to attack. And so I'm sort of interested in sort of seeing, like, is it going to be Darkhawk? Is it going to be Beta Ray? Like, there's multiple pretty sizable threats at 4, including Werewolf, right, as well. Like, I think like a Zabu shell that's like kind of like those old specimen decks when Zabu was extremely cracked, that were like, they had Zabu as their only cheap card, and it was like all 4s, right? And I think that there's like something to that could be emerging as more and more of these diverse threats that require different sets of answers continue to be printed at 4. And continuing my continuing argument that the best card printed last year was Zabu. So that's sort of my take on this card. So we'll start with Tuccrr. We are sitting here at the end of the Planet Hulk plus Beta Ray Bill sort of season. Your feelings about the sort of the cards. You don't have to talk about all of them. You can talk about some of them. Sort of what is your feeling at the end of the first season of this year of our Lord 2024?
I think we added a lot of great support cards this season. I think some of them we kind of overrated some of them, and some of them are kind of properly rated. I think Kyra is the best card that came out this season. I think what she adds to all sorts of decks is really scary. We got Zoo back. You can drop 6 costs and just be safe. I think Scar is actually severely underrated right now. I think not a lot of people are playing Scar, but you've seen him flex, I feel like, in this past week in more packages. I think Hercules was underwhelming, still underwhelming. He had to get buffed in an OTA the same week, which was kind of interesting. He's not like bad, but I think he's just I think Meek was a card they put out because next month Meek is going to have way more value. Not going to say he's going to be like groundbreaking, but he definitely gets more usage. And I think Grandmaster was kind of overrated, but the value he can add as a key flex support card can truly help you elevate certain decks.
Felicity?
Overall, I think that this season, like where everything is right now, I really like the meta because it seems like I'm running into a lot of variety, and it feels like, some of the cards can go into a lot of different types of decks. And that's what I really appreciate, because I feel like a lot of frustrations come from like just seeing the same things over and over and over again. But when you have like a healthy meta, that's when you get to see a lot of variety. And I think the cards that came out were pretty interesting, and they've been fun to like experiment with in different ways. So overall, I'm really enjoying this season so far.
I don't like Scar and Kyra like as cards, but they're not like broken. They're just not my style, right? Like, I don't want to play one card a turn and just be like, look, big dumb idiot. Like, that bores me. So let's ignore those. Hercules and Grandmaster are so cool. I love those cards. And someone listening is just yelling at me that they're terrible. Well, I wail, so I have time for all 3. Hercules is super fun. Miek is super fun. Grandmaster is both good and super fun. Just don't build around him. Just use him on like turn 4 with another 2. And all of a sudden he's great. Like, as long as you're doing these things, these cards are an absolute blast. I think this is this is like nowhere near the most powerful season, but outside of the season pass card and Kyra, which is just like, you put it down and it does thing. I think this is super fun. And like, I think that's a big part of and Blob going away and them not releasing a broken card now for basically this will be 2 months, right? Like in all of January, and Blob was the first card in December. So it's basically a month and a half to 2 months that they haven't released a broken card. So when you don't release broken cards and then you do release fun cards, the game gets better. Better. I can speak sometimes. Let's go with better. Tuccrr is laughing at me, so now you have to reply, Tuccrr.
I was just laughing at the beta. Like, you really putting the emphasis on it.
It was such an accident.
It's a better meta.
It's a beta. It's a better meta. We're in the better meta.
I guess I get to be the rain on parade here thing. Excluding from the meta itself, the more the card releases, I think coming off December, which was like a series of powerful in the sense of like Annihilus and Blob. Obviously, Blob was too powerful, and I guess Annihilus was too powerful too. Still not convinced by that, but whatever. But also compelling cards like Havoc and Celine. Celine's my ride or die girl. I love that card. But like those are also like compelling cards that cause people to like want to open caches, want to spend their tokens to this kind of like dud season to me. Like, not saying these cards are bad or like I enjoy Herc. Like I spent on Herc. I also spent money on Meek. Grandmaster, I will pin at one point and like buy when he's a busted combo card. But until then, I think he's like kind of boring. And, you know, Kyera, I guess is how you say it, is literally the single dullest card that Marvel Snap has ever printed. Like this card that protects like 1 cost and 6 cost cards from being destroyed. It's like the ultimate mid-range enabler. It's like cool story, bro. Like I think that this season is full of pretty balanced cards, and is very mid-rangey. With I think Grandmaster I think people will come to regret this card existing at some point in the future because of its sort of high ceiling, but it'll kind of sit as a sleeper. I was very, very underwhelmed by the season because there's very little, like, nothing really made me want to open a lot. Like, Herc was probably the closest to it because Herc decks are just, like, stupid fun. Like, and they just do stupid stuff sometimes, particularly Herc Mirrors in that week where everyone was playing Herc was, like, the most fun I've ever had losing in Marvel Snap because, like, things are just happening. Like, stuff is just getting kicked around. It's like, I don't know what's going to happen. Let's just play cards, right? And, yeah, so I was very underwhelmed by the season. Now, that's excluding whether or not the post-blob meta is balanced, which I'm definitely open for arguments that it is, but I just think overall I found January as a card release season to be extremely dull, particularly compared to December, which I both enjoyed the December meta, but also just like it wanted me to get all of the cards that month. And I think it's the last month I bought all the cards in Marvel Snap since like last spring. So
what was we're missing a card. Were there only 4 cards released in December?
there's Blob, Annihilus,
There's only
Celine,
4.
Havoc.
No, Annihilus is November.
Is Annihilus November?
I promise.
Mm-hmm.
So it's Blob,
Celine, Havoc.
Celine, Havoc, and then
Shaw.
and Shaw.
Is that it?
Mm-hmm.
That's what you're coming at me with? That pile of crap season?
Well, I consider Annihilus in December, but I don't know why my brain says it's in December.
It's it's not even the last card of November. It's the second to last card of November because Martyr postdates Annihilus. I wrote a stupidly large article about this, so it's now ingrained in my head.
Sure.
All right, Felicity, December or January? Go.
Which one's better?
Yep.
I think
Not counting Blob's brokenness.
Wait, can you say what was December's again?
Sure. Shaw, Blob, Celine, and Havoc.
I think December. I like December better.
Roy, you have another bad opinion on your side. I'm sorry.
I mean, I kind of agree that this season there wasn't a card that I was like, that I really, really, really wanted to get. There were some fun ones, but it just wasn't like, I don't know, I wasn't as excited.
Fair. Tuck?
So I don't think the December cards that came out as new cards necessarily was better, but I think the supporting cards in the spotlights in December were better than the supporting cards in the spotlights in January. Because you had Black Knight, Jeff, Legion, Ravona, Tribunal. I mean, you have Stegron, but a lot of those cards, some of the earlier players maybe didn't get, because Black Knight didn't get his update until December, so people really weren't picking that up in October because you could still Shadow King and Shang-Chi it. So I think the supporting cast was better in December, but I like the new cards in January more, but I think if you look at it from a holistic standpoint, I think the total sum of cards that came out in December is probably better.
All right, Roy. Unfortunately, we're restarting this podcast with Lil Robitussin and KK Sparkles as our guests because maybe they'll take
that's
my
fine.
side.
I mean,
I don't know.
I think I'm also a weirdo. Like, I'm much more excited about cards that like I before am excited to open, even if they turn out to be shit, than a card that like I'm not excited to open that one day turns out to be good. Like, I guess, like, that's how I approach the cards. I'm not upset that, like, for example, I opened for Havoc. Not only was that a good month for, like, a good week for spotlights, but it was also, like, a card I was excited for. I played some, and I'm not being as great as I thought it was, but, like, I enjoyed that experience versus, like, again, like, and I had that experience a little bit with Herc this month, right? Like, where a card I thought was cool, compelling, I enjoyed opening, even though it kind of turned out to suck. Well, not suck, but you know what I mean? Not as be a meta-defining card, right? Unlike, like, I don't know, Kiera, like, or even Blob, right? Like a card that maybe people underrated, thought was going to be bad, and became good. Like, I don't know. So I'm always going to look better at months that, like, I had that experience of, like, I want to open this, even if it's not great. But anyway, speaking of not great into great, let's talk about OTA stuff. All right, OTA, big changes. Luke Cage is back to his old ability, but is now a 3-cost for strength card. Hulkbuster has been smashed with the Nerf bat and is now...
Is he?
I mean, or is side grade, I don't know, is now a 2-cost 3 strength card instead of a 3/5. Heimdall is now a 9 strength. Spider-Man 99, same text, but now is 5-cost 9 strength. And then the big one that I know has caused some discourse about whether this is a nerf or a buff is Ghost. Ghost has got Glazer's favorite card, has gotten a something to 3-cost 5 strength, same ability. This is not, of course, the biggest OTA. I think, except for Luke and Hulkbuster, not the most aggressive OTA. But Felicity, what do you feel about the OTA changes? You don't have to talk about all of them. For example, Heimdall only going up 1 more strength. If that's not that important to you, you don't have to talk about it. But what do you think about these OTA changes?
My favorite one is the Luke Cage change, just changing back to what it was, only because there is a very toxic deck that I liked to play. It was like the Wong hazmat thing, and I loved that deck so much, but when they made the change to Luke, it just wasn't playable anymore. So I'm very excited about that. I don't know, it just made me feel really evil, but it felt so good. So I'm excited to play that one again. As for the other ones, honestly, I don't really have a strong opinion on the others. The Hulkbuster, I don't know if it's good or bad. I mean, it definitely gives less, like if you're playing it with like Spider-Man, it gives it less power. So I don't know, but it's also like less cost. And the other ones, I really don't know.
I definitely think the Luke Cage buff was definitely justified. I think we might see some Cerebro 4 pop up, which honestly, that deck is in a good spot if you think about it. Some of the cards you can get there. I think the Hulkbuster is better on curve now. So you can have some crazier mix-ups now with Hulkbuster. Since the 3 spot is normally so heavy, being able to put him at 2, there's a couple decks I have in mind that I'm going to be testing with Hulkbuster. I think it's honestly, like, for Deadpool, it's not that huge of a deal. I think you probably needed to nerf a different destroy card or something for the destroy package.
Oh, did you see that they accidentally released the Venom thing? Did you guys see this?
Yeah, that I was thinking about it too, and I'm actually starting to cook if that is a potential thing. I have some stuff in mind.
So they had Venom accidentally on their website as a 4/5, just so any listeners who missed it know. Sorry, go ahead.
That's a huge change.
Yeah, they didn't release it. And they say, Glenn was like, yeah, we're not doing that. But I don't know if I believe it.
Because there's no 4-power destroy cards right now, so that's actually interesting there. I think 2099, no one was playing 2099, and this is also like almost another reason not to play 2099. It's just there's so much setup you have to do with the card in order for it to act properly. I mean, if you want a 5/9 move card, I would probably still go with Arrow. I think Arrow has just more sway there. I think the Heimdall to 6/9 I think is good. I think we're doing a lot of Asgard cards right now because we just dropped Beta Ray Bill. So that's why Heimdall got a little bit of a buff himself. The Ghost play is a little interesting. I think especially with Supergiant coming out next month. I'm not entirely sure how I feel about that. I guess it's better for the Surfer package if you're trying to not get Shadow King and Shang-Chi. But I think Alioth is still a card that exists, and not having priority in the final turn is a little scary sometimes. But other than that, I think the changes, why there's not a lot of changes right now, is because the meta is so healthy. They didn't really need to, or feel like they need to adjust too many things at the moment.
All right. Are you ready? Everyone got their tinfoil hats ready? Remember how they released Mobius and then they were like, yeah, we knew we were going to nerf that. And then they're like, we didn't mean we knew it. We just, knew it. They did the same thing with Luke Cage and Elsa. They knew they were releasing Blob. They knew they couldn't have those cards be what they were with Blob. So they temp nerfed them to be like, I'm not even kidding, I don't think. I think they temp nerfed them, knowing that they were like, we'll just release them again as 3s. I would bet you Elsa's change is just 3/3+2. And they were just like, we're just going to put them back to 3s once Blob is no longer breaking everything. Let's see what happens if we just have a lane winning 6. Let's see what it does to the game, does to the meta, right? And so they did. And then they took out the thing that because you couldn't have old Luke with Blob. That would break the game. So they were like, okay, Blob's gone. Let's put those 2 cards back. I'm completely convinced that's what happened. They're not going to tell us again, because what their big mistake with Mobius was telling us. Right?
Yeah.
But I would bet so much money that's what they did.
Did wait Elsa +3 again? Maybe because she's 3 cost now?
I mean, if they do, she's immediately broken again.
Sure.
So, I mean, look, I'm for it, but I don't think the meta is. The problem with the +3 card that's consistent, right? Is that you have to find reasons not to run it if you can trigger it multiple times.
Mm-hmm.
Mm-hmm. Can we get Spider-Man 2099 triggering every time he moves to a new location now that he's 5 cost? That is a lot of work for a 5 cost because he no longer has the Zabu synergy. So there's not that many easy ways to reduce a 5/9, particularly in the move package. I think if you find a way to move him twice, I feel like you should get rewarded. Maybe that's too toxic. Maybe so. Doctor Strange into Spider Girl or Spider Girl and Doctor Strange, not Spider Girl, quite Ghost Spider, excuse me, into Hemdoll or something, or I don't know, is too toxic or whatever. But I think that now that he's a 5 cost, I would really like to see Miguel become just shoot something every time he moves, at least maybe to the first time to a location. So
I have a stupid idea about why they did this. I think they really want high power, high cost move to be a thing, and it's not. And this isn't going to make it a thing. But they refuse to make Hercules a 3, which is the obvious thing to do to make him a good card, right? And now they're just what if we gave some other cards an extra power? It's just make them cheaper, not more expensive, so we can move them more, or give us maybe there's, I don't know, in what's 2 months from now, April, there's some big move enabler coming that's going to make all this worth it. Maybe move gets a null, right, where every time you moved a card this game +3 power,
like a Spider Punk or a Spider-Man Noir.
Yeah, ongoing, every card +3 power for every card you've moved this game. Which would make all this other stuff worth it, right? Because then you have all these other threats under Shang, that threat that was above Shang. You Heimdall with that, and all of a sudden things look good, and you're not so sad that you have all these other low power things. I could see it. But yeah, I don't care about move. So can I get hurt again? Ghost is gonna hurt me again. I believed in Ghost so hard when Ghost was about to come out. It was gonna be my favorite card in Snap. And I kept playing Ghost. I hit Infinite with Ghost, even though it was a terrible card. I'm ready to get hurt again. I'm going to play me some Ghost.
You're going to get Ali off the whatever it is a lot. That's what's going to happen to you, Aaron. A lot.
It's going to hurt. I don't know what to tell you. It's just
you're going to be winning the game if you were not playing Ghost. There's literally going to be games where it's I would have priority if
But I can enchantress my ghost on turn 5 and
sure.
surprise reclaim
Sure.
initiative
Wow.
to shut off their Goliath. And after they've snapped me, it's extra cubes. Because if they snap me, I know why they snap me. They're snapping on Goliath, right? So then I just hit undo turn, enchantress, win.
Friends, we loyal listeners, loyal viewers, you are the only. Glazer knows that YouTube algorithm has already turned so many people away from listening to the rest of this episode, so he can say takes that are truly ignorant. All right, that's like all right.
Hey, it's called what do the Twitch streamers call it? Copium.
Oh my god! Please stop talking like a Zoomer. Please don't. Please stop. Like you are.
We have two younger guests.
Yes. But you're supposed to you're a teacher. You're supposed to make people rise to the occasion, Aaron, not sink down to the Zoomer morass.
Look, I'm not a history teacher. I'm an English teacher, and language is fully evolving. Sorry.
That true. Well, that in and of itself, Glazer, is copium. All right.
Wait, does anyone have any ghost takes before we go? I want some ghost takes.
Felicity, do you have a ghost take?
I don't think I've ever even played Ghost, to tell you the truth.
You're smarter than I am.
Sorry.
Tuccrr?
There's some Shauna value. There's some Shauna value down the drain now since Ghost is not one cost.
True.
I remember once, this would have been when did Ghost come out? Like February, where Glazer was having me build decks for us to play on Discord, and he was like, "Do you have Ghost?" I was like, "No, I don't have Ghost." He's like, "Why the fuck do you not have Ghost? Like, this card is great. Like, what can we substitute for this? I'm not sure. Like, all right, let's try something else." Like that. That's how on board Glazer was for Ghost. So
I'm gonna get hurt again. I'm telling you, it's just I love the pain. Oh, I have one more thing. They clearly hate Cerebro, right? Like, why are they so mean to poor Cerebro?
But they love Silver Surfer, because Ghost can be pretty good in Surfer. So
I don't,
because sometimes you want to go last. Like if you're not going to get the big purple clouded, going last to Silver Surfer is often frequently good. So
okay.
I mean, it's true though, right? Like you avoid Shang-Chi, you avoid Shadow King.
My brain still will always exist in an original Surfer world where they used to run Cosmo, and like Cosmo wants Pariah. And I know Surfer doesn't run Cosmo anymore, but in my heart it does. So
just I don't know, more Cosmo more Silver Surfer.
You said copium.
Right. Yeah, I know. I was just going to say copium there. Anyway,
wasn't
oh, go ahead, Tuccrr.
Wasn't Ghost the first Series 5 card to go straight to Series 3?
We don't talk about these things. Stop trying to hurt me.
All right. So we'll start with you, Tuccrr. We've got some questions for our guest, from our Patreon. More things you get to do if you're on the what tier, Glazer, for this one?
That's the $5 or $10 tier.
$5 or $10. So, all right. So we'll start with Tuccrr. What's your life like outside of Snap?
I am married to my beautiful wife, Amber, and we have 2 dogs and a cat.
That was the color of your energy.
And work at a country club. Spend a lot of long hours there, so that's why I stream so late at night, because I'm out there grinding all day, and I drink a lot of energy drinks, so that's what keeps me afloat.
All right. How about you, Felicity? What is life like for you outside of Snap?
Outside of Snap, during the day, I do have a full-time job also, and I'm an IT services consultant. And I enjoy a variety of other games as well, and I do a bit of music.
Wow. Wait, make music?
Like sometimes I'll stream music, so I'll play like piano and like sing and stuff. Yeah.
I'm on your stream all the time. I've never seen you do that.
It's rare nowadays, but yeah.
That's very, very cool. All right. Well, we're going to start with Felicity for this question. What are some content goals you have for you and or for the community?
I definitely want to do more events. We are planning on another SnapCon.
Yes.
Aside from that, I am really bad at doing like social media, and doing anything really outside of Twitch, but I would really like to expand to making more content on like YouTube and on TikTok. So those are my goals for this year.
Well, Val, if you'd like to do some match commentary, we might have a tournament that could use some YouTube commentators.
Okay.
All right. How about you,
Awesome.
Tuccrr? Oh, sorry, Felicity. Tuccrr?
Kind of in the same boat as Felicity, they're trying to expand content onto other platforms too. I'm trying to get into a habit of posting like a YouTube video a week, and getting back into posting my clips everywhere. One of the main goals this year too is to try and hit partner on Twitch, which we're starting the year with pretty solid. I think if we can keep doing what we're doing to stay consistent, we can hit that. And I think honestly for the community, I still think the Marvel Snap community is the best community on Twitch. The amount of, and not just Twitch, other platforms, maybe not Reddit because Reddit gets a little crazy, but it is an absolutely fantastic, fully supportive community. Whether you've been a streamer for a while, whether you're wanting to start streaming, there is support from all sorts of sources. And like huge shout out, of course, to you guys here at Snap Judgments for reaching out to all sorts of different content creators, big, small, first time. Maybe it's their first tweet ever or something, like picking up their decks and just being able to recognize and just like shout people out really means the world. And it is just fantastic that you guys do that as well.
So I want to take down the community. I built it up. Now I'm just gonna tear it down. That's my goal. I'm just gonna be like, it's gonna be like Lady Deathstrike rip it down.
All right.
Okay, apparently I'm not gonna do that.
Okay, gosh. All right. That was just whatever that was. I
has no time for super villain me.
Post, but I won't cut it. All right. So anyway, last question. We'll just keep going in that order with you, Tuccrr. You're at a bar after a tournament and overhear a group of players talking about your content. What do you want them to be saying?
I think like holistically, I'd want them to say this guy is truly genuine with what he says and what he does. I think I don't want it to feel like when I'm streaming or when I'm making content, I'm just a different person. I'd want them to truly think it's authentic. And I think, honestly, that's what matters most. I think authenticity is so valuable. And it just, I don't know. I feel like the impact you can have on people, especially if you're being authentic, at the end of the day, the goal is to make someone smile. Like, you don't know what impact that's going to have on another person. So I don't know. I just want people to be happy, I guess.
Oh.
That's a good answer, Tuccrr. I love this question because it really gets you to like think about, because I've never really taken the time to like think about that, but it's something that is really important. But very much like Tuccrr, like I would want people to think of my content as very authentic, and for me, I love to have fun, and with like a kind of competitive game like Snap, I've never really had a lot of time to dedicate to my content and to Snap to be a very like a super competitive player, and I don't think I'm known to be like really good at the game or anything like that. But and so
You're
I
really
want
good. Sorry, that's like
well, I
not,
appreciate
how many people here have beaten Lambie? Oh, just you? That's cool. All right, let's keep going.
But all in all, like I would like to like I would like my content to I want people to think that it's like a fun place and a safe place to be at whenever they come by my stream, and that's mostly where I try to make my streams fun.
You succeed.
Thanks.
Also, I like that Tuck thinks at the end of after meeting him, anyone's just not gonna be like, "Wow, did you know he was that tall?" That's totally what they're gonna be saying. Wait, did you know?
That was a lot at SnapCon. Everyone was like, wait, what? It's got to be the camera angle or something. I don't know.
All right.
So that's that flag behind him. He's always got a one piece flag. It's actually at the top of a flagpole. He's just that tall. It just looks like it's right on normal level.
Oh, that's amazing.
All right, friends. Let's move into our main segment here. All right, Glazer, what is going on this week?
All right, I listed 24 weak cards. We're each going to draft one to talk about. Snake draft style. Do you guys know what snake draft is? Basically, first person goes, then the last person goes twice, and then we keep looping around until we each have 4 cards. We're at that point saying how we think we try and buff these kind of crappy cards. I missed one crappy card, so we should have 25, but what are you going to do? Let's see if you folks can figure out which card I completely forgot. That's completely terrible. That was not on the list. But we are going to draft the cards, and the person who drafts the card gets the final say on how to fix it. And at the end, we'll each have 4 cards with fixes. Cool.
Does it have to be realistic?
I mean, you live your best life, Fel.
All right.
Okay.
So I'm going to real quick read the list of cards for our loyal listeners so they just have a sense of what we're dealing with here. We've got, I don't know why Leech is on here, but sure. Leech, Meek,
I think
Grandmaster, Howard the Duck. You might hate me, Leech, but it's not a bad card. All right. M'Baku, Havoc, Baron Mordo, Cloak, Captain America, Rhino, Sabretooth, Swordmaster. At this point, our loyal viewers realize Glazer doesn't know how to count because he starts over again with 12 over here. We've got Groot / Drax,
I don't care.
White Queen, Kang, Lady Deathstrike, Ultron, also another weird one to be bad card, Orca / Namor, sure, Hellcarrier, Captain Marvel, Moon Knight, Adam Warlock, again, Galactus, and Quicksilver / Domino. Now, these are the cards that Glazer chose for us. Whether they are all bad cards is up to your interpretation. Like, as Glazer pointed out earlier, language and cards, are fungible. Like it's always changing here. So, all right, who is the first person in our snake draft to kick it off?
So, I used a random number generator to give us our order. So it's going to go Tuccrr, Roy, Glazer, then Felicity twice. And then we'll go back and Tuccrr will go twice on the way back. So, Tuck, which card do you want to talk about first?
Lady Deathstrike.
Ooh, okay. Let's go. What do you want to change? How do you want to change it?
So honestly, I think the only change you need to add, I think if you make Lady Deathstrike a 4-cost card, either on a 4/5 or a 4/4, that's pretty much the only tweak I would do. I would change her energy cost. I know we were talking about the Venom whatever leak earlier, but there's no 4-cost destroy card. And I think having Lady Deathstrike on curve in that sort of way as a 4/5, I think that's just a safe number there. It destroys Ms. Marvel. It destroys Zabu. I was using Lady Deathstrike previous seasons to destroy Mobius and stuff. I think she's a viable tech you don't even have to have in just a destroy deck. And since 4 is such a competitive energy cost as it is, I think it just would make more sense as a 4/5. That's my final 4/5 is
4/5. So we're cool with it being the best card in the game then with Zabu?
Yeah.
We're just all fine with that. That's what we're going with. Lady Deathstrike, best card in Marvel Snap. Yeah, we're all cool?
Yeah.
Fel, how do you like that change?
That works.
we're Team Lady Deathstrike being the best card in Snap? Holy crap. All right. I mean, I was going to say for her, making her a 5/5, and then, like, if you really want to make her great, and, like, it's nowhere near as good as just being a 4/5, only killing opponents' cards.
Ooh. Well, that...
I want to pull her from
package,
destroy.
you kind of just get beat because Lady Deathstrike can't unclog your lane.
Okay. Like, I just want her to be a good tech card, right? Like, I think at 5/5 is a good card you can play on turn 5 or turn 6. Like, sort of like Valkyrie would be just fine for me for her. But hey, it's your pick, so you get the final say.
I think 5 power, honestly, like, I think 4/4, I'm cool with that. I think 5/5, I just want her to be more powerful. I really like the card. I don't think she should have been Series 5 when she came out. I think Series 4, she makes more sense. But I think she just needs 5 power.
So 4/5 or 5/5? It's ultimately your pick, Roy. Do you have anything to add to this one?
I mean, my change would be that equal other cards of equal or lesser power is the text I always want for her. So just change it to other cards with equal or lesser power. I always thought would be so much better than it has to be lesser power. But
then you can kill Cyclops. I like that.
Tuck,
Yeah.
what do you want? It's ultimately your choice. What is the change? What is our final Lady Deathstrike change?
I really like Roy's thing. I think realistically, equal or less power makes the most sense. But I want her to be 5/5.
5/5? 5/5 it is.
5/5.
Lady Deathstrike gets one more power, and I think she's just a good meta card at that point.
Yeah.
All right. Roy, it is your pick.
I'm gonna go with Baron Mordo.
Okay.
And I'm gonna give him Spider Ham's ability as well. So you draw the top card of their deck, it becomes 6 cost and loses its abilities. It just becomes a dead. Well, not sometimes. If they are playing Infinite, cool. Then they get a busted card. But most of the time, it just becomes a dead draw 6, whatever the power is. I think it's just sort of because right now it's kind of like a weird, maybe what's that Ronin card, sort of like a kind of thing. But I think generally is combining it with Spider Ham and turn everything into Spider or ability would be extremely powerful, and I think would make it a better card. If this is the design you want and you want it to be powerful, I think that's what you have to do.
Okay. Any thoughts?
I think stripping the ability is a lot. Honestly, if I were to make it like Spider Ham, I would make it so we just knew what card turned into 6 power. That I would do more of the intel aspect because we're already making them draw a card. I think making him but it's at the same time, the idea is really cool because he has magic. Being able to just take something away is really cool, and it's like a micro kind of better leech because he's 2 cost.
So Spider Ham.
Spider Ham's like that too. But I think you'd play probably Baron more than Spider Ham. That's in that case.
Val?
For Baron Mordo?
Mm-hmm.
I feel like I never see Baron Mordo, so I kind of like that idea of just getting rid of the ability of a card, but I don't know. I think I'd be okay with that.
So the change I've always heard for Mordo that everyone always tosses around is for Mordo to instead of being draws a card, just be the next card you draw.
That's solid. That's the lowest impact change, on the card.
It's
if
a
you
potential draw step blank, right?
Yeah. If you really wanted to go crazy, you could do because this card, Barimoto, another thing that stands out to me is it doesn't make any sense. It's a Doctor Strange card, right? So if it's the opposite of Doctor Strange, where it moves the lowest strength card, was also sort of another idea I had for Barimoto. If you wanted to be no, whatever, this was just a card we designed in the vacuum. It was a bottom-up design. But if you were going to top-down design Barimoto based on what Doctor Strange does, it would be that. So those are sort of my two ideas.
Because Dagger exists.
Yep.
+3, by the way.
Yeah.
All right. Which do you want, Roy? It's your call.
I'll go with the Spider Ham one just because I think that's kind of hilarious. But yeah.
Okay. It is my pick. And I want Sabretooth to be a 4/10 that when it's destroyed returns to her hand.
What is it right now again? I mean, what does it...
3/4 does nothing. When you destroy it, it returns to your hand and costs 0. I want it to be a 4/10. Or it could be a 4/9. I'm fine with a 4/9. Let's say 4/9. 4/9, when it's destroyed, it returns to your 10 cost 0. Same ability, but 4/9. Because if I'm going to play a card to destroy it, I want a payoff.
Good grief.
Yeah. Look, I'm not. You guys are going small. We're going big now. What do we think? Too good?
I think that's too good. I mean, Mobius exists, but I think 4/10. I mean,
4/9.
4/9 and an escape Shang-Chi.
Sure.
That's free. I mean, if you look at like the 4/9 drawbacks, like Black Cat, 4/9, it disappears. You have to Ghost Rider back or Hela it back or play it that turn. I think that it's a little too big, but I think you could get him to 9 power, destroying him a couple times. Like he goes back to your hand, gets +1, like Kitty or something like that, and you just do that repeatedly.
I like it. So let's make him okay. Let's change it. You convinced me on that. Let's make it 4. No, let's keep it 3 at that point. 3/5. Each time it's destroyed, it gets +1 and costs 0.
Yeah, I think that's fair. You're still getting your null value. It works as like an X-Men character, still like that archetype with like a Wolverine getting the plus value. He just costs 0 back in your hand, opposed to like Deadpool costing 1 still back in your hand. So it kind of has the same flow to it.
Felicity, thoughts?
I like that a lot. I like that better than just having him just be really high power to begin with. Yeah, I think destroying him and having him gain health each time you destroy him and costing 0, I think that's a good change.
All right. Right?
Yeah, I'm on board.
All right, well, that's the change. Done. Felicity, you now get 2 in a row.
This is so hard for me.
That's the point.
Yeah, but you guys, for some reason, it's so easy for you guys.
I mean, I got talked out of mine in 0.2 seconds. It wasn't easy.
But I feel like these cards are like, I don't know, they're all right.
Break the game.
I mean, some of them are are just Glazer's opinion. Like, there's like no reason Legion Glazer should be on this, but
Ultron should, because Glenn literally this week was like, "Yeah, maybe we're updating Ultron. He might not be good enough." Maybe I should shut up because I have an Ultron change next.
I guess I'll pick Adam Warlock.
Ooh, nice.
Maybe like a realistic change would maybe be just making him more power, just because he's 0, right? He's like a 2/0. I think just giving him some power would make him a little more playable, because it feels like you're just kind of putting him in a lane, and I mean, when you play him, you don't know if you're going to be winning that lane or not. So it feels like he's kind of... I guess that's why we don't really see him being played.
I have an idea. What if you didn't give him power, but any card he drew got -1 cost?
What if he was 0 still, or even -1 or -2, and he was draw a card? Just play him, draw a card.
So -2, draw a card? Just one draw card cantrip? Then he's in every deck and he's the best card.
No, I know. But even at -2, you think he's in every single deck at -2?
Yeah.
I mean, he's Adam Warlock. He's supposed to be OP.
Yeah, well, I mean, like, sure, but like they didn't want America Chavez in the game, right? And that's just
I was gonna say it. It's like the same as America Chavez, because it thins out your deck.
Well, and like Bast and Ravonna exist.
Spicy.
All right, Vel, it's your choice. Which of these do you want? Just 2/1, 2/2, 2/0, and gets -1? Something totally different? Roy's idea?
I feel like giving him some power would be kind of nice. Right. Maybe like a 2/2.
Oh wow, we're going big. 2/2 Adam Warlock. He is now wearing a cute little skirt. He's wearing a tutu. All right, Fel, you go again.
Oh man. Okay. I will go with um maybe Quicksilver / Domino.
Okay.
Those are cards you always draw on like 1 and 2, right?
Mhm.
Um, mm, okay, my original idea was to have them just draw another card, but that doesn't work because that's the same thing we just talked about.
Mhm.
Maybe. Having them. I don't know. All I can think of is having them be more power. I feel like that's probably what I feel like for most of these cards because I don't really know how else to balance.
I don't hate them having more power. Like, I think a 1/3 Quicksilver and a 2/4 Domino would, like, be significantly more playable. Is that crazy? Like, there's decks I'd run Domino at 2/4.
Yeah.
Tuck, thoughts?
So, like, this is going to sound a little crazy. So, like, for Quicksilver, what if you swapped his ability with Electra's ability? And he just kind of, what's his name? Is it Blue Train from The Boys? Who has I don't know if you guys have seen The Boys. Oh, but he just runs over another 1-cost card on the other side of the board as, like, his ability. I like the draw for it is good for, beginning players kind of to, like, understand, I'm always going to get this card. I'm always going to have a card to play in this situation. But, like, Domino's thing's about getting lucky. So, like, what if I don't know. I really like Nico and how she has, like, spells that are, like, RNG. But what if you had some, like, RNG stuff for, like, Domino? Like, at this turn, you can, I mean, not like a Quake kind of thing, but, like, I don't know. I'm thinking just like RNG with Domino, just to play into her, like, lore of having luck. So maybe it's like you draw a certain cost card or something here, or a certain on reveal ability happens. I don't know how to actually put it, what I'm trying to say out, but that's just kind of where my head's at. Just, like, tweak the card and to make it more RNG because, I mean, it relies on luck. And then Quicksilver, I mean, what if you play Quicksilver and something else happens? Like, what if you play Quicksilver and one of your 1-drops moves lanes or something? Like, Quicksilver, like, not like pulls a card over like Ghost Spider. What if he, like, flips a 1-drop over to a random location, like when he drops down, kind of like when in X-Men, I don't know, is it Days of Future Past, where he's just, like, shuffling people out of the mansion and stuff? Like, he just randomly throws a card somewhere or something. I don't know if that makes sense.
Felicity, this is ultimately your decision. What would you like to see happen to Quicksilver and Domino?
I guess, or maybe if they just, like, if you held them in your hand a turn, like, you would still draw it on those turns, but if you held it in your hand for the next turn, after you drew it, they would just hop to a random location.
Oh, I like that.
Like, after. Maybe something like that.
I actually like that a lot. That fits Quicksilver especially really well. Cool.
Okay.
All right. I am not going Ultron. I lied. I'm going Havoc. I want Havoc to gain the power, but not eat the energy the turn you play him. Everything else the same. Every other turn the same. But for the first turn, he doesn't eat the energy. He just gains the power. Thoughts?
I mean, that makes him much more powerful, but I think it's, like, within the range of, like, possible changes that could exist, so it's hard to check to, I guess. But it does get away from the heart of the card, right? Because it's...
I mean, Sure, but like he's still doing it. Like if you play him anything earlier than turn 5, you're still losing the energy in a real way. And like if you play him on turn 5, you're just playing a 2-drop on turn 5, not a 5-drop, right? So like, good luck.
I mean, you can play a 2 and a 3.
Sure.
So.
Yeah. Fel?
So you're saying that if you play him, the energy doesn't go?
That first turn. The turn you play him, he doesn't need the energy, he just gets the power. And every turn thereafter,
I see.
The idea is like you're spending energy to play him, and that's the energy for that turn, so he gets his power. The next turn, he starts doing the exact same thing as he does now.
Ah. I kind of like that.
Nice.
It does make him pretty powerful, but I kind of like it.
Tuck?
I think it's an interesting change. I think the setback of Havoc, like, because like if you were to play him on 5, he'd be, I don't know. I just think a card becoming 2/8 on the next turn and not having a drawback is kind of crazy. It doesn't necessarily make him the best 2-drop in the game. I just think that makes him a little bit ridiculously overpowered. Well, I mean, I guess that's kind of an oxymoron there. If I said not the best 2-drop in the game, make him ridiculously overpowered. But I think, I don't know. You have to have some sort of way to, maybe if it's not +4, if it's +3.
Okay.
+3 and he doesn't gain energy.
So is it 2/8 that busted at that point in the game? Right? Like, there's 2 6, like, we have 2 6s, right?
Mm-hmm.
We have Elsa, who with 2 triggers is a 2/7. Like, is it that much above curve? Because, like, those cards, like, you can play whenever you want, right? Like, this card you have to play on one specific turn, or you're not getting that benefit.
I still think the drawback, I mean, with Maximus, your opponent draws 2 cards. So you're playing Maximus on the final turn anyways, and he's a 2/6. With Havoc, he becomes a 2/8, and you don't lose your energy until then. He's what? Potentially, if you had played him on curve, you get him to 2/8 on, let's say, like, turn 5, he's 2/8 if you play him on 4, so you have 4 energy on turn 6, but he's a 2/12 then. I think I don't know.
Shadow King his ass.
I mean, you could Shadow King him. You would have to pretty much like shong him and not overcommit, but really play into that lane because he's a 12 on 6. I mean, you can't shong him if you play him on 4 because it's an after turn action. So you'd have to.
Okay, so let's change the timing then, so it's not after turn. Also, let's make it like at the start of the turn instead of at the end of the turn. This way, like the counters are back in. That should counter his power for me.
Okay, I think beginning of a turn makes more sense. I think that's definitely better for the curve. I still think the power creep is scary, but like you need, like, it just kind of makes sense to. I mean, the card overall, like the character is freaking sick. Why would you not have something great like that for the character?
I had another idea of a full redesign where he becomes a high evolutionary card, but he gives 2 cards at your location, and he could be 1 just fine, +1 power.
Ooh, so like it's literally
Reverse
a sonic
Cyclops.
blast through his. I like that. Honestly, a Cyclops synergy like that, I feel like makes sense. Do you tweak Misty at all, or do you keep Misty with the same ability? Well, actually, no. You keep Misty the same because you already have Wasp, which is similar to Cyclops.
Yep.
With the zap. Okay, I like that more, honestly.
Felicity, which one do you like better?
Sorry, what were they?
So there's the one where it absorbs it start at the start of the turn, but not, it works exactly the same as now, but it happens at the start of the turn, and it doesn't take, the negative energy doesn't take effect till next turn. The other is it becomes a vanilla card that works with High Evolutionary, and its High Evolutionary ability is, we can make it a 2/2 at that point or whatever, right? 2 cards at your location get +1 power for each if you have unspent energy at the end of the turn. Basically, reverse Cyclops. Where Cyclops gives your opponents -1, 2 cards -1.
Yeah, you get +1 for yours. Wait, but do you get less energy still?
Nope. Just any unspent energy you have that turn. Like, exact same trigger as Cyclops. If you have unspent energy, it kicks.
I think I like that better,
Let's go with the
but
evil card. Oh, sorry, go ahead.
I also kind of like Havoc's ability because there's not really any other cards that are like that. Like you lose energy. Like I kind of like the uniqueness of that. But that doesn't really matter, I guess.
It can matter.
Yeah.
Roy, break our tie.
I'll go with the former.
The current build, yeah, not the
Yep.
evolutionary.
Yep.
Cool. Making sure. All right, Roy, your pick.
I am going to pick a controversial one. Or the design on one is controversial. Is M'Baku, and I basically want him to be old America Chavez, but his text. So he does not go in your hand. You do not draw him. At the end of the game, he randomly appears in one of your lanes and gives you 2 power.
That's too. That's. I mean, like we just best card in the game.
That's fine.
Bar
Like
none.
I think that is incredibly fine with me. Like I just think it's totally fine. So that's me. I like that surprise element. M'Baku is one of the most feel bad cards in the game. So short of a complete redesign, that's what I would do.
You could redesign them too.
What about M'Baku? Like, what make about power? I don't know. Again, he's a card that like you'd have to sit in a design meeting and be like, all right, is he a Wakanda card? Is he a separate card? Like, his design has nothing to do with the character of M'Baku, right? And he has nothing to tie with Wakanda. So just design your random Wakanda card and slapping him on there. So there's my design. There you go.
What if he didn't stay in your deck? You just draw him whenever, but he will always fly to a random location.
Doesn't he do that now? Doesn't he come out of your hand?
Nope.
No, he doesn't come out of your hand.
Text? Sure.
No.
If that's what you want is the reasonable one, we can switch to that.
Tuck?
What if, similar to like the Wakandan cards, like Black Panther doubles his power, Nakia adds +1 to the cards in your hand, Okoye adds +1 to the cards in your hand. What if M'Baku got like an additional, either maybe not necessarily doubles his power, but gets like +1 for all on reveals that happen? Like his power just gets upped because like a lot of the other cards are buffing either themselves or other cards in their deck. But if like M'Baku per on reveal, like got like a +1, or maybe his got like a +2 or something.
Sure.
Sure.
I don't necessarily think, again, like if we're going into the Wakanda space, he's got to either double power or add power to the hand, right? That's the 2 Wakanda design spaces. So, and he's never, I think M'Baku's been Black Panther in the comics, has he? Or is he not? So,
yeah.
Maybe he triples power.
Or how about when your card would have its power doubled, give it half of that again.
That design is fine, except no one is going to do the math right. So like you're like literally asking people like,
I mean, +14, then divide by 2, 7. So like
I'm
21.
just telling you, Aaron, and I would be literally, you and I would literally be sitting on Discord playing a game, and we'd both be like, so this could be 27 power, and I would say yeah, and you would say yeah, and then it's not 27 power, it's either something less or something more. Like that's like it's like they try to be easy. It's like instead of doubling the power, triple the power, right? But there's only one card in the game that doubles power. But if you make it like an effect like Shaw,
there's 3 cards in game that double power now.
The double power.
Shuri, Panther, and
what's his face? Beta Ray, yeah.
Deadpool.
Deadpool.
And then Deadpool. So like it could be a fact like if something power doubles, or instead of doubling, triple, or
it seems like it'd be problematic real fast.
Mm-hmm, yeah.
That immediate What would Shuri be at that point? 42? That seems like we have Blob again. We just remade Blob.
Yes, a 3-card blob.
Yes,
So
fine. Still,
that's an ongoing. Like I mean, I think I think Felicity's this option is the one I'll go for. It's the most reasonable of them.
okay. So works from hand also.
Yes, I think though. I think M'Baku, if you're going to rework him, I think he needs to be. You got to sit in your design meeting and like go back to first principles on the card. Like if you're going to do a fundamental, because he has no relationship to any of the other Wakanda cards.
All right, Tuck. 2 in a row. These are your last. Oh wait, no, you're not. You're gonna get the last pick in the draft, right? Go for it.
So with Moon Knight, Moon Knight would have an RNG ability, 3 different RNG abilities for his 3 split personalities. One of them would be discard a card. One of them would be destroy a card, like not like a Shang-Chi, but like a certain. Maybe he gets, instead of the Elektra, which Elektra I think is a card I think I would have loved to see on this list. But it'd be
I didn't put any cards in that were recently buffed or nerfed.
Okay, that's fair. Destroy like a 2-drop with this on reveal with Moon Knight, and then the third one would be add power to another card, whether that is +2, probably +2. Like maybe in a power, like add 2 power on reveal to a card of this location, so it's like a permanent power opposed to an ongoing power. So then you're using all 3 personalities. The one that like kills is the kill personality of Moon Knight. The one that adds power would be the what is it? Is it Doctor Knight, or I forget which one
I think
it is.
it's just Mr. Knight.
Mr. Knight, that's what it is. That would add the 2 power to your cards in that lane. And then the OG Archaeologist Moon Knight would be the discard one, because I feel
discard
like it kind of fits
one from your hand, from their hand, from both.
It would be the both one, the same one you do, because you're still like, because the way Moon Knight works, like he wears white so people see him coming, and he never dodges. So like if he's not going to dodge, then he's not going to dodge your hand and your opponent's hand. So he'll take a hit and you'll take a hit at the same time.
Okay. So how is this RNG decided? Like, is it when you play it? Is it like Nico where it changes in hand? How does it work?
It would change in hand, but it would change more. Yeah, it would change more like Nico. Or if maybe it transforms like old Snowguard did.
Okay. I can live with that. I like it. Fel?
It's a cool concept. I like that.
Right?
Yeah, I agree.
Okay. Let's keep it. Go again, Tuck.
And then for my next one, I'll do Kang. And honestly, Glazer, I think what we talked about months
old school
ago.
One, yeah.
Months ago. With Kang being like a timekeeper, I think I like the idea of him changing all 3 locations to something random. It's kind of like not like Allegiance, kind of like a multiple Scarlet Witch kind of thing, but like Master of Time. He controls all 3. I think he still disappears, but you don't get the card draw. But he changes all 3 locations as a big bad. Something crazy.
I could see it. I kind of actually like change all 3 locations. Is it crazy if he turned I want him to turn one location to the one where it turns each card into a different card of the same cost?
Ooh,
because that feels like he's just flipping. Yeah, Tarnex, where he's like flipping through time, and like when he plays it, he should also change to another 5, right? But like you can screw up your opponent's whole turn that way. So that I think that would be like what I would want. I would just be like that like he changes the location you play him at to Tarnex, and then oh shit, I keep dropping my water bottle. Sorry, and then he immediately like changes into a different 5 at random. Like sometimes you're gonna Modoc your face, right, and that'll be hilarious. But sometimes you're gonna be like, oh cool, free double dino.
That'd be spicy.
Right?
Oh no, go ahead, Felicity.
Oh no, I like that. I was actually gonna use that for Helicarrier.
Oh, nice.
But I think that would work for King a little better.
I'm going to suggest something that's absolutely wild, and you're all going to hate it, but he has the text, before turn 5, cannot be played after turn 5, restart the game.
I would. I cannot double the length of my Conquest games.
Yeah, I'm just... I know, I knew it was immediately, but I think just restart the game. Boom. Just play it. Can't be played after turn 5. Restart the game. So it's like a 5-0. Boom.
Oh my god, I would punch my monitor probably.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Punch my Roy.
But it's not bad.
That's
It's
fine.
not a bad change. It's interesting, but oh my god. I think there would be a lot of people emoting.
All right, Tuck,
What
your
if you
call.
restarted like 2 turns? Like 2, maybe not the whole game, but if you restarted a couple turns, that'd be cool.
Mhm.
But I think I'm going to stick with the locations. I think change
Sure.
all 3 locations is what I think would be pretty crazy. And like we have a lot of location cards, but we don't have anything like.
Is
I
he
mean, I
still
guess we do
5-0?
crazy. Yeah, he's still 5-0.
But he stays on the board now, right? Like,
But he takes up board space because he's changing every single location. Yeah.
okay. Oh, okay. We are back to Roy.
I'm going to save this card from Aaron because I have this feeling that he's going to pick this card, which is Galactus.
He's not. I knew
I'm-
you were, though. It's here literally for you.
I wouldn't have picked this if it wasn't on here. I'm just trying to save Aaron from doing some abominable thing to it. I think Galactus, you can adjust his exact power, but his current text, but instead of blowing all other lanes, it blows up his own lane. He just blows up one lane. So you play him, if you're winning that lane, you blow it up.
How do you win
It's the
the
only-
game if one location doesn't exist? Isn't that just like one,
You
like
can tie.
just you tie? Oh wait, I guess tiebreakers
can-
are perfectly fine, right?
Yeah, tiebreakers are still there, and games tie. 3 location games end in ties. I have it like maybe once a session. I have ties. Like, just blow up the location. Could be because your opponent has
Same
there, or
same other text.
same other text. You can adjust the power up, maybe, since it only blows one lane. It could be like a 6-7. What is he? What is
Yeah.
Galactus currently? 6-5.
6-5. Yeah,
Yeah,
I
it
like
could be
6-7.
6-7 or whatever, and so your opponent has Wong there. Boom, blow it up. Like, just I think that's a way of like it still being an interesting and powerful card that does Galactus-y things. It ate a planet, but doesn't like make the game only about Galactus, which is what so many people hate about the card. So that would be my redesign.
Are you saying it blows up the location he's played at?
Correct.
Or random? Okay.
His location. Oh, random. Woo! That would be super spicy, Felicity. Wow. I'm not that brave. I want this one to actually fly. But random would be fun. Oh, man.
I like the blows up his own location a lot. I think it's a much cooler card than it is now. Like, it's just like, all right,
that.
yeah, it's just like, all right, so like screw that. Especially if it's like a 6-7, like you sort of locking in that last turn of the game at that point. I like it.
It can only be your only card. Now, of course, if you have priority, you blow up like 3 of your opponent's cards, so it makes it a super ally auth or whatever at this point. But yeah.
I think I like that idea. I think honestly, this might sound crazy. What if you just like reverted him back to OG Galactus?
No. Like, because then you just like Shuri Red Skull one location, so you're probably winning tiebreakers, right? And then like the other location just Galactus, that location doesn't exist. Your tiebreakers are 1. Have a great day.
Yes, but like at the same time, I feel like Galactus right now, if you're playing him with Electro, you're fighting for priority. So like even if you didn't have priority and you Galactus a lane and you don't have priority, you can still arguably win that. It would bring back the null Galactus play. But
why do you want that?
I don't know. Maybe I'm thinking too crazy. But I do like Roy's.
The thing about Galactus, right, is Galactus has never actually been the most busted thing to be doing, right? Like, it's come close a couple of times, but people just hate that the game becomes all about him and he makes their shiny cards go away, right? Like, people, like, he's just, for a lot of players, he's a negative play experience. And so there's a lot of people who love that play experience. So they're like constantly trying to find the right spot. I think right now they're in an okay place with Galactus, where you can play him. There's definitely cool Galactus decks. Check out the Snap Takes, but it's definitely not as powerful. I think at this point, like maybe now in this more balanced post blob meta, but during the blob meta, I think old Galactus would have not been one of the best things to be doing, right? I think that like the strategies of the game have the whole overall game has power creeped sometimes above what OG Galactus was doing, but it's I think now at a lower ebb, so maybe not, but so you can't permanently have that effect in the game. But there's definitely times, and there could be in February another time where the game just is too strong for what the OG Galactus wants. But that a lot of people don't care about how powerful that is. So I feel like shifting him to one location is a compromise where it does something cool, does something compelling that no other card in the game can do, but doesn't make the game only about him. He's still probably the biggest thing that happens in the game, but it's not only about him. So, anyway.
Is he still 6'5"?
6'5", yeah. I even could be like a 6'6" or 6'7" at that point, but
I think you buff him to 6 or 7. I think I like that too. If it's one lane opposed to the other two, yeah, I think it's fair.
I like the 1 lane 7.
All right,
all good.
Yeah,
I go. All right, I'm gonna go with the Orca Namor duo. I want 2 changes. I want 1 cannot be destroyed. If I can only play them alone, just give them the stupid cannot be destroyed text. Beat their number. Go. Thing 2, I want them to each take up 2 spots at a location.
Mm.
And I want Ms. Marvel to work with that. Because now they count as 2 cards.
Oh wow, that's. But they're the 2 cards of the same cost, so it wouldn't work.
Oh, they are 2 cards of the same cost. Fine, they won't work with Ms. Marvel. Then I guess they don't have to take up 2. Just give them can't be destroyed. I'll be happy.
I like that. I think taking up 2 lanes is if it's taking up 2 lanes and you can't be destroyed. I think that's entirely reasonable.
Okay,
just 1
2
fat
lanes
card.
can't be destroyed.
What do you think, Felicity?
I like that as well. I was thinking about that also, and I guess one of the I'm sometimes afraid to play them because I'm scared they will get destroyed if that's like the only card that I have there. Yeah, I like that.
I just think like you're taking such a downside by playing only 1 card at a location that it's fair to like give them the upside of not just being Shangbi. Like you can still Enchantress them, right? Like make it part of an ongoing, so if you Enchantress them, that's fine, rogue them, whatever.
No, that is spicy. I like it.
We're for it? That was an easy one.
Does rogue steal both the can't be destroyed and the single lane ability?
Yep.
Okay.
But like, good. Go figure out how to rogue that. Fine. All right, that one was super easy. Fel, you're up. 2. And these will be your last 2. Dun, dun, dun.
I have 2?
You get 2.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. I will pick Howard the Duck.
Ooh.
Right now, Howard the Duck is you could see your next card, right?
Mm-hmm.
It's ongoing. Maybe add in an additional on reveal, and you can see your opponent's next draw.
Oh, that's pretty cool.
Mm.
I like.
I don't
that a
know
lot.
if that makes him strong enough, but I don't see him very often.
I like that actually.
I like that a fair amount. Yeah, I think that's actually really cool. Yeah.
Okay.
I'm for it. Any thoughts?
Yeah.
Because
It's a good one. It's a very good
I'd
one.
play that card. That is smooth. Yeah.
Okay, sweet. I think I will pick Groot / Drax.
Okay.
For Groot, how much does he gain?
2.
Two.
He's a 3/4 that gains 2.
If someone else plays a card in that
Mhm.
lane.
Yep.
Maybe if the opponent does not play a card, then they'll gain 1 instead of the 2. But also keep if they do play a card there, then he'll gain 2.
So this way, there's always non-reveal that triggers.
Mm-hmm.
That's not
Yeah.
bad. Okay. Tuck?
Yeah, I think because like where they're situated in their card slots at 3 and 4 costs, I think that's another reason why their play rate is just so low. But I think even if they whiff, they're not like punished for it like Mystique is if you play your card in the wrong order. She's drawn because like their ability isn't as like potentially game altering as like Mystique is, if that makes sense.
So I think a lot of it is just like Gamora sees play because 5/12 is really big,
Mhm.
and 3/6 is not really big. 4/8 is not really big.
No. I mean, look at Crossbones.
Yeah.
Especially with some of the stuff that got released today. Crossbones stonks went down even lower with
Yeah. I guess
Metal
Crossbones should be
Obsidian.
on here. He was not the card I forgot, but Crossbones is not here because Crossbones was metal.
Way better choice than Leech to be on this list.
So I have a Leech change I want to talk about at the end. It's literally a nerf, not a buff. But there's a Leaf change I want to talk about. It may be here, so I remember. Crossbones should be here, but Crossbones is not the bad card I forgot. The bad card I forgot is in Series 5.
Okay, what do you got for us, Glazer?
Oh, wait, no, it's Felicity's turn. She's
I
got
thought
2.
Felicity did both.
Oh, she did
I
both.
did
You're
both.
right. You're
Howard
right.
and
You're right. All right.
And the group. Yeah.
So the one I really want is like a small cloak change, but I'm not going to do that. We're going to instead do Ultron. I don't want Ultron to make drones anymore. I want Ultron to make all cards act as if they had no abilities. Their abilities are still there, but they get their like every card you've played gets that Patriot buff. But you're giving up your turn 6 play to play a 6/8.
Yeah, but you're up. What? So like, okay, so you could have Wong, Silver Surfer, whatever. Like you have a million card, or Iron Man, like whatever. You could have all of those cards, but they're treated.
I don't know how you're playing all of those cards.
Yeah, you know what I mean, Glazer. You're treated like they have no abilities for the purpose of the card.
Yep,
it's pretty powerful. Specifically in Patriot, like because it does open.
That's what it's for. It's literally a Patriot deck. It is the Patriot finisher. Like you have to play like Brood, but now the actual Brood itself. You know what I mean? Because you need to get a bunch of cards on the board, right? So your actual Brood itself will get the buff. Your actually Absorbing Man itself will get the buff. Your Patriot will suddenly become a 3/3 or a 3/5. But you have to do all your work before the last turn, and for compensation's sake, we'll make him a 6/6.
I don't really think that solves any of the problems that a Patriot deck has, because like frequently when you play Ultron, you win. Like the point is putting your opponents in places where they can't play Ultron. But
I think Ultron's just kind of dead now. Like most of the time for most modern Patriot decks, Doom is just a straight up better choice. And since Doom is just a straight up better choice, there's no point in Ultron existing in the way he does.
That's fair. All right, I'll let others go. Felicity, Tucker, what you got about Glazer's lunatic change?
I like Ultron. It feels very strong though.
What do you think you're getting? Like, let's go through a play pattern of a Patriot deck, though, right? Like, let's say you go turn 1, I don't know, Misty or whatever crap 1-drop, right? Like, or you can play a good 1-drop, right? So whatever decent 1-drops, that's 1/3. Then turn 2, you go Ravona, right? Then you go Brood into
Or
Absorbing
Mr.
Man.
Sinister.
Sure.
Yeah.
But like then you can't go Patriot and Misty, right? And still get a full board if you're going Sinister. So you would have to go Ravona. So you go Ravona, then you go Brood Absorbing Man, and then turn 5 is Patriot Misty. You're getting your buff on Patriot, Mystique, and Ravona, right? Like the rest of your board isn't getting that buff. Like it's harder to use the buff than it seems like at first look.
Wait, you would get your buff on which ones?
Patriot would go from a 3/1 to a 3/5, right? The Brood itself would get a buff. The Absorbing Man itself would get a buff. The Mystique would get a buff, and then the Ravona would get a buff.
That's a lot of power, though.
Yeah, I mean, is it more power than a Surfer deck and Surfer and a Surfer deck?
It's more free power than like Cerebro being like specific cost and power, or not specific cost, specific power.
Sure. If with the perfect curve, it's more power than like Cerebro with any curve. Is it more power than Cerebro when it does the Iron Man Valkyrie thing? Yeah.
No, but I think also on 5, you're probably playing Blue Marvel instead of Patriot and Mystique, so you can get maximum power for your bots.
Well, there's no bots anymore.
I mean, yeah, but I think...
And then if there's no Patriot play, it does nothing.
Yeah.
Unless
okay, so there's no drones at all anymore.
No drones. Drones are just
It's
gone.
just the...
Mm-hmm.
I mean, I like it because I like Patriot.
Me too.
It just feels strong.
Well, it's built in my head off Annihilation Conquest. I don't know if any of you read like the comics, but like it's basically Ultron merges with the Phalanx and just like takes people over. Right? So like that's basically what it's doing. He's taking people over. He's making things drones. They keep their abilities, but they're also drones now, and since they're drones, they get the bonus power from Patriot. Why that's Patriot, I don't know, but Patriot is the card that does that instead.
I think it's a unique ability. So, and I always appreciate that.
No one's vetoing me. I'm going with it.
Yeah, I just don't know how... I mean, because of how crazy Ultron is overall, he needs to have something crazy.
Mm-hmm.
Like, a takeover makes sense to, like, negate all of your abilities just for that specific deck, but they keep their other stuff. I think that's crazy enough. I honestly, if he doesn't have the bots, I think you probably make him a higher 6-power card, opposed to like a 6/6, 6/8, since he doesn't get the additional bots. Because, I mean, if you have the curve with Ultron and the bots, he's like, what, like a 6/14, 6 freaking
more than
20?
that usually. So look, I'm fine. Let's just keep him as a 6/8 to test it out and see if it works. And if it's not powerful enough, you make him a 6/10, right? Or 6/9, I guess. 6/9 is the number.
So he doesn't get Shang-Chi. Is it?
Yeah.
But it's an ongoing ability opposed to an on reveal.
It could be either.
I think
it could just be this turn on reveal. This happens.
I think with the like, I think it needs to be ongoing if it's going to be for every single card for like a universal thing.
Okay. Well, for every card on your side, right?
Yeah.
Okay, I'm fine with that. All right, we have settled on Ultron. That was my final pick as well. Roy, what's yours? Roy?
I'm just thinking.
Okay.
I'm thinking.
I thought you were talking into the muted mic.
No, I was not talking to the muted mic. Okay, I was thinking.
He calls it thinking.
I know, I do call it thinking sometimes. I engage in it on occasion. For me, it's gonna have to be, I just want to make sure I'm not stepping on anybody's toes here. I want it to be Captain Marvel, and my change is simply more power to Captain Marvel. I don't like I think she should not have been changed. Like, I think that when they reduced her cost, I thought she was in a perfectly fine place. I think 2 more power maybe would be good. I think that just the card is like kind of a dud, and I think it was super bad of them to not have her playable when her movie was out. And that I just think Carol deserves better than where she currently is, because she's not really like a beginner card like Captain America, because she is Series 3, right?
Yep. Sure.
So she's not like an entry level card. So there's no reason to sort of like keep her in sort of like a weaker design space, because it's going to be one of the first cards you open. So I think she should be a strong competitive card because she's a strong, compelling character. So maybe two back to her pre-buff, or her buff. Wait, her post-buff pre-nerf power. There we go.
Which was 4-6 or 4-5?
I think she was 4-5.
4-5.
4-5.
Yeah.
So 4-5?
Yeah.
I think that's fine. I think she should have never been nerfed.
I like 4-5.
Mm-hmm. All right. Tuck, you are last up.
I'm gonna go with White Queen.
Ooh, nice.
And so it's the interesting thing about like White Queen is like she also is a telepath and she also can use Cerebro. So like it's a very interesting situation if you want to make it either lore based or whatever. I think being able to see the top card in your opponent's hands, cool. But I think you can go crazier than that. I think if you were to have White Queen, instead of like Cerebro, it's like powered cards. You make it like cost cards. You still keep her 4 power, and you do a situation kind of like we were talking about earlier, like what Specimen did originally with Zabu. So it's like all 4 cost cards get like +2 as an ongoing ability, but she like stays like a 4/6. But you have to play like 4 cost cards, and you have to play her in like a Zabu deck.
I don't hate it. She's not giving herself +2, right?
No.
Okay. I can live with that. Yeah. We're all good?
Interesting. Yeah.
All right. I'm going to read out our final choices. We have Tuccr's 4, our Lady Deathstrike, to a 5/5. Thankfully, not a 4/5. We have Moon Knight getting 3 abilities, changes either like Misty or Snow. Not Misty. What's her name? Nico. Or Snowguard. 1 is the regular discard, 1 is destroy a 2-cost card, and 1 is add 2 power to a card at this location on your side at this location. We have Kang becoming Super Scarlet Witch, still a 5/0, but change all 3 locations. And then White Queen at all 4 drops get +2. Roy's changes are Baron Mordo, draw it and it loses its ability, so it still costs 6, but it also gets Spider Hand. We have M'Baku, who now also works from hand. Galactus, who is going up to 6/7, but now only blows up 1 location. And Captain Marvel, going back to 4/5. My changes are Sabretooth to a 3/5. When destroyed, it gets +1, returns to hand, and costs 0. Havoc doesn't need an energy that first turn he's played, but the power gained is at the beginning of the turn, so it can be Shanged or Shadow Kinged just fine now. But that first turn, it doesn't eat the energy, it gains the power, and every other turn it works just as it does now. Then we've got Orca and Namor, who take up 2 spaces, but cannot be destroyed, both as ongoing abilities. And Ultron. On reveal, treat the other cards here as if they had no abilities. On reveal, treat the other cards on your side of the board as if they had no abilities. 6/9. Felicity's changes are, she has made the best card in the game. Adam Warlock at 2/2. You love to see it. He deserves it. I love Adam Warlock. We have Domino and Quicksilver as if you hold them in hand for a turn, they still get drawn. They just jump to a random location. Howard the Duck. On reveal, so regular ability, and then also on reveal, you can see the opponent's top card in their deck. And then we have Groot and Drax. If the opponent, they get the regular thing, but then if the opponent doesn't play there, they get +1. Dear viewers and listeners, let us know what you think about these changes. We will be moving on.
All right, we're to our last segment every week, which is Variants of the Week, we will start, and this week it's Pandart. Is that how you say it? Pandart?
Mhm.
Who is doing the store takeover this week. Felicity, which one of these did you pick?
I picked the Shuri. I like that one the most.
I also picked the Shuri, so.
Oh, nice. Yeah, it just looks really, really clean, and I mean, it looks great. I like it.
Yeah, I love all the Shuri Black Panther variants. I think they're all really cool. Although my most upgraded Shuri is the Pixel. So. All right. Tuccrr, which one did you pick?
I chose the Deathlock. I'm a pretty avid Destroy player, and this Deathlock variant is easily the best, if not tied for first with Deathcock. But it is.
Did you believe in Lambie?
Fantastic. I actually had gotten it from a premium mystery before. It was
Fair
actually
enough.
a reward. But this, like, it literally looks more like Deathlock. Not Deathlock. Dead Shot. Goodness gracious. Dead
Oh, yeah,
Shot.
it does.
I think that the eye glows and stuff. The animation's freaking phenomenal in this one.
And I picked Zero. This is the only one I bought. I had a Zero variant. I like this one better. It looks great animated. The rocket animates. The purple energy animates. I think it's really cool. I don't think much of Zero as a character, but this is a really cool variant.
No, it's definitely, I think, the best Zero variant.
Mhm.
And Zero actually is one of the few cards that has a good base art too. So it's
not
a good upgrade. Yeah, these are all great variants that we picked this time. So let's move into the final phase of each episode. All right, Felicity, why don't you sell us, if our loyal listeners and viewers who become your loyal listeners and viewers, what would they get from your content?
Hopefully a lot of fun. I make a lot of mistakes so that you guys don't have to make them. You can learn from me. But yeah, a lot of fun, good vibes. Sometimes good gameplay. But yeah, that's pretty much me.
That's not nearly enough. Felicity is a delightful streamer, amazing human being. We did earlier, what would people say about you at the bar after meeting you, after playing games with you, after spending time with your content? And I don't have to guess that, because right after SnapCon, there was one thing on everyone's mind. Oh my god, you have to get to know Felicity. She's completely amazing. Because that is the prevailing opinion of literally an entire community. And you get to be part of that community on her Twitch stream, so don't miss out and go check it out.
I appreciate that. Thank you so much.
Absolutely.
Awesome. All right. Tuccrr, what is, if our loyal listeners were to become your loyal listeners, or our loyal viewers to become your loyal viewers, what would they get out of your content?
I would say a lot of energy. I would say I would pretty much on, I don't have it listed on streams, but headphone warning probably for a majority of
Yep.
streams. I talk really close into the mic, so not necessarily ASMR, but I mean, I guess some people like that. But high energy. I like to create my own decks too. So a lot of the decks I'm playing are more homebrewed, opposed to some of the stuff you might just find on Untapped. But of course, sometimes these decks are just great that other people find. Like, also, I like to support some of the little guys too. So, like, I'm not saying I'm a big guy, not by any means at all.
No,
But
literally.
definitely. But yeah, if you just come by, always good vibes in here. Join the kingdom. It's always positive. We do not allow the negativity, because we don't want to drag people down. We want to bring people up. And like I said earlier too, like the goal of the stream is not only to play Snap because it's a passion. It's to like help people smile and enjoy what's happening. Because like at the end of the day, you don't know the impact just those small little moments have on a person's day, week, year, life, or whatever. Just try to just help people feel like they're actually getting listened to, or help people feel like you're listening to them. And we're all friends. Like I just want to continue to build friendships with people because that's what people need. People need friends.
there's a reason I stop by before I go to bed. It's good vibes. It's a good place to end your day. It's late at night almost always when Tuck streams, which kills me because teacher, right? Like I'm tired, but I gotta stop by after a video, after editing, like I edit, but like after like putting everything together, I'm often exhausted, right? Well, I want to go to sleep with a smile. I want to be happy. I want to like feel loved. Tuccrr stream is the cheers of streams. You go, everybody knows your name, everybody knows everybody. It's just it's a little like party of friends, and like you'll go the first time, be like, no one knows me, and you'll be welcomed, and everyone will know you real fast. Go, talk, enjoy, have a great time.
Thank you, Glazer. I appreciate that.
Absolutely.
All right. Before we go, we now have the Patreon thanks.
Yeah, I have to
Glazer,
list a
get
bunch of Patreon names
to
real
read
fast.
them.
Ready?
This is my favorite part.
We got our Patreon. Certain tiers of Patreon support come with on-air thanks at the end of episodes, including the podcast. So we've got Models, Pretty Chill, Father Newman, Inc., No Flex, Mandatory Burnout, Matt Conduit 23, Good Dog Gamer, Dix Lee, Mikey Hijinks, DG Winfield, Cables, Rob Silverman, Matt H, Abigail Giesland, Direwolf, Ocularis, X-Force V, Jay Neverett, Spike Jones, Koire, Louis Antunes, JD McDonaldino, and the homie Min.
Glazer, what level do you get this on, by the way?
$10.
$10. All right, you get a lot for $10.
Yeah.
All right. Now, we'll remind you, we'll start there. Don't forget our Patreon is patreon.com/snapjudgments. We are on Twitter at SnapJudgeCast. We are extremely proud to be the official podcasting partner of Marvel Snap Zone, and we are active on their soon to be revamped and Discord, which you can find the link to in the show notes of this episode or on the description of the episode in your friendly local podcatcher or YouTube. Our email is snapjudgmentspodcast@gmail.com. And every day, except for Saturdays, you will find a new Snap take on our YouTube at Snap Judgments Pod. And with that, we are at the end of yet another episode of Snap Judgments. Over 60 of them now. I think this is the 63rd episode. So big times. Tuccrr, thank you so much for joining us for, I believe, the second time.
Yeah, thank you guys for having me. Always a blast. The main segments in the middle are always so much fun because there's so much going on and stuff.
Thank you.
Felicity, thank you so much for joining us.
Thank you guys so much. This has been really fun. I didn't know what to expect, but it was super cool to get into a bunch of different topics, and just the variety of stuff that we got to do on the show today was really cool. So thank you guys, and thank you for all that you do for the community. We appreciate it.
Thank you.
She is talking specifically about my friend and yours, Aaron Glazer there. Aaron, thank you as always for doing this show with me. Whenever I'm here, and for our loyal listeners and loyal viewers each and every week.
Peace and love, everybody.
All right, folks. Until next week, stay safe, make good choices, and keep on snapping.
Woohoo!